Okay, so let's continue talking about dropping packets on a network. Sometimes you want to drop packets on purpose by using a firewall. Now, your firewall could be a hardware device or it could be software related. So, for this particular example, I'm just going to go with the Windows firewall application because it's free, it comes with the operating system, and I can pretty much make the point to you by showing you the actual firewall log from Windows 10. I think I'm running 10 right now, but I do have 11 as well. But in any event, let me explain further what I am referring to. So as you can see here, this is the actual firewall log file, and I'm going to show you how to get to that log file after I show you this example. So this is all of the traffic coming in off of the network, or it came in off of the network on November 11th, 2025. And you see here, these are the actual rules. I want to allow ICMP for this particular network address. And of course, it gives you the send and receive options. And a lot of times it will give you the port as well. So let's try and find a rule that is actually telling the firewall software to drop that packet. Now that packet could be a nefarious packet that we don't want coming into our network. It could be a particular user's port that we don't want to have access to a certain area on the network. It could be many things, but you as the network administrator, you have control of setting up that firewall rule. Now we know by default firewalls will reject everything. You have to go in there and specify what you want to come in and come out when you set up your firewall initially. All right, so I'm going to keep scrolling down here and see if I can find one that says drop. And it should be here. I'm not sure how big this file is. It's probably fairly big. So just kind of keep scrolling down until I see an option, or here we go. Here's one right here. So drop the UDP protocol, and this is a broadcast address, and it says receive, but we don't want to receive it because we're taking the firewall rule to drop any broadcast information that's running off the UDP for this particular network. Let's see if I can find a few more just to give you an example. These are all loopback addresses. All right. There should be a little bit more here. It all depends on how many rules you actually set up on your network. Here's another one. Drop UDP 169.254. And I happen to know this is an automatic IP address. So we're telling the firewall to drop this particular address. Even though we're receiving it, we're telling it to drop it from packet standpoint. And there's another one right here. That's also broadcast address. Let me keep going. We're allowing ICMP. That's good for that address. 146. That's probably a workstation. But I mean, you get the general idea. So this is also an example of how we can review packets that are being dropped on the network. And like I said, sometimes you actually want to have those packets or that data dropped, data from that particular network card dropped off of your network, just to streamline your network and make sure it's running smoothly. All right, so now let's go ahead and bring up the Windows firewall. And I'm doing everything local here because I'm just giving you the theory and the concept. So I don't have any of the big boy toys. I would like to get some, but right now I'm on a tight budget, retiree budget. So anyway, let me go back here. So now, if you look on the Windows Defender and Advanced Security on the local computer, the two areas that we want to look into is the Windows Defender firewall properties. So we want to make sure that the log file that I just showed you earlier works properly. By default, this logging of the packets into this file is turned off. So you have to go and turn it on. So you do that by going into the Windows Defender Firewall and Advanced Security, and you click on the tab here. and you get this little section here. Now you have all three sections: domain, private, public, and IPsec, right? But for now, what I really just want to show you, I want to show you the public profile, and it's even telling you here inbound connections blocked by default, outbound connections allowed by default. You have to go ahead and configure these options the way you want. But I want to show you the log file information. So you see here it says logging, and then it says specify logging settings for troubleshooting purposes. This is really what we're doing. We're doing it for troubleshooting purposes as a network administrator or a network guru, or basically just so you know how to monitor your network properly so you can keep from having all those problems. So if you click on that option, now mine is set to yes right now. You see where it says log dropped packets. You want to make sure that it says yes. By default, it's going to say no. And then it's asking you, do you want to log successful connections? That's, neither here or there. Actually, it's probably a good idea to know when you have successful connections as well. And you can have that turned on or off. I have mine turned on. And this is the area where it's going to log it on the System32 log files, firewall, and pfirewall.log is the name of the firewall log file for Windows Defender and security. Whatever system you're using, it might be a little different, but that's where it is set up. Now let me show you that it is actually set up properly. So if we go here to monitoring, click on that, and now you can see under Windows Firewall, it's helping you protect your computer. That's good. But under this little section, the log settings section, and it gives you the path right there also. I'll show you how to get to it in a minute. You can make the file size as large as you want. And it says here, log dropped packets. Yes. Log successful connections. Yes. You can turn that off if you need. So if I want to get to my Windows Firewall log file, just pfirewall log, if I click on the link here, it brings me straight to my firewall log for that particular time frame. So remember that it's going to be for that particular day that you're viewing it if you have it set up. And then from this point, you could either just go ahead and save it or, just review it, whatever you want to do. I usually save mine. You probably want to keep definitely a folder for your firewall logs as an administrator. You want to have that information readily available to you. So if you ever get hit with a problem on your network and you're troubleshooting, you can always go back to the firewall logs as well. Use it as a tool to help you troubleshoot network problems that may occur in the future. All right, all right. So now here's Wireshark, which is a free open source protocol analyzer tool. And like I said, not to really be used on a corporate network. This is just for home use. And now, but let's see if I can bring up one of these files here that I ran some traffic analysis on earlier. Let's try this one, wireless traffic PNP. Let's try to open that one up. Right now, this is all of the traffic, of course. You have the protocol, you have the length of the protocol, and you have all the information. So this is how you're going to take a real close look into those packets on your network. And what I'm looking for something that says retransmission. If I can find it. There's got to be one. I don't want to go too fast. But I might have to go real fast because there's a lot of information here. I'll just find it. Okay. Here's one. Now, whenever you're having errors on your network with Wireshark, it'll make it in red and black usually. So if we look right here where it says TCP retransmission, and that's actually a certificate. That might not be a good example. Let me try another one because I don't want to go into certificates right now. That's a whole nother topic. Let's see if I can find some regular traffic. That's not a certificate being dropped. Okay, let's scroll down here. I'm just going to take the bar and go a little faster. Okay. Not yet. Getting there. Payloads, protected payloads. There's a lot of stuff too. I'll find it. Just be patient. Bear with me here as I look for it. Okay. Now I might have to bring up another file if I can't find it on this file. I'm at the end of the file. All right, let me bring up another file. that has a little bit more. So these are issues as well, but they're not dropped packets. But they might be. I have to look up that code. Right, let's do this. Let's try another file. Let me try the open recent. Let's try this guy here. All right, try that one. See if I can find some drop packets on that particular instance. Taking a long time to load because I know the file is pretty large. All right, so let's try to go down. This one. Here's one right here. I'm gonna get a few of them together, but I might not be lucky enough to get that. Bunch more. You see, there's a lot more. Let me see. And my hand is getting a little bit numb. What is that about? Okay. I'm looking for something that says retransmission. That's what I'm looking for right now for this exercise. Right there. TCP retransmission. Port 80. That's the port that it's supposed to be going to. Sequence, I don't know. ACK usually means acknowledge. Anyway, let's go this. Let's drill down into this one. There it is. So we have the protocol analyzer opened up. And so from this point, you want to drill down into the information. Here's the packet size, the bytes on the wire, bytes captured. And if you just drop down here, you can see when the packets arrived. Right. Now, frame is marked false. So you just want to kind of look over this data. Why is it retransmitting? And that's where you have to take your little course on packet analyzation, but coloring a rule. So you know, like I mentioned earlier, if it's in red, you should be looking at that information. See if I find anything here that would help you decipher why the packets are being dropped. You know, it's IP6. We know that it was TCP. There we go. This section right here maybe might be good. Transmission control protocol, port 80. We did that already. Destination. Conversation completeness. It says that was complete, but when was it complete? So basically, you want to definitely look at the header. Here we go. Reassemble. This is what I'm looking for. It takes a while sometimes to drill down on the information. There's the actual TCP payload. When we say payload, we just mean data. Reassembled PDU frame. So it's working probably on the transport layer of the OSI model. You could see if it lets us get into anything. There is a, oh, there it is. So this is all hexadecimal, and I didn't do too good with math, so you can fool around with that if you want to. But this is where all this data here was reassembled. In other words, this is the part of the packet that was dropped or caused it to be not working properly. It even says here, data segment used in reassembly of the upper layer protocol, ULP, of the TCP segment data. Da, 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 da. And it says TCP, let me see if I can hover over it and get that message again. TCP retransmission, right? And it's showing you the packet bytes and so on. So Wireshark is a little complex for my liking. I like the other one, the network monitor, because it's pretty straightforward. So for those real techies, they like to get into Wireshark pretty heavily. But I just want to show you what it looks like when you on the protocol analyzers when you have packet loss, dropped packets. So dropped packets, remember, will say retransmission. So now we also need to get into all of these other errors like TCP previous segment not captured, continuation, all that. Anything that has that color, red on black, you want to review as a network administrator and see what the heck is going on. That's just for Wireshark. If you have your own corporate protocol analyzer, it probably has a different way of letting you know that the traffic is bad. But just be aware that you should be looking at that information I would say daily, but definitely weekly, depending on your schedule and what else you're doing as a network administrator. We have many hats that we wear, or I used to wear. I don't wear them anymore. But many hats that the network admins wear. So depending on how you set your schedule up, you want to make time to look at your traffic patterns and go from there. All right. So hope this was real helpful for you. Now I need to go back and check my other app and see if we received any drop packets yet. So let's go ahead and do that.